Hello, readers, and welcome to the Tandem Collective booktube channel. I am Alexis, and in this video, we are going to be talking about romance books, which is very apropos because today is Valentine's Day that we're recording on. So to the team here with me, happy Valentine's Day.
Valentine's.
Yeah, and it's so great to have you here on the Tandem YouTube channel. Let's start by having everyone introduce themselves. This is your first time on the channel, and where you're coming to us from today.
So I'm Elle. I've been with Tandem for over 2 years now. I'm a project and campaign manager, so I think I've probably spoken to a lot of you throughout the last couple of years on readalongs, etc. And I'm coming to you from a very sunny South Yorkshire.
Nice. And Char, you're in the same area too, right?
Yeah, same area. I'm a bit closer to Sheffield than Elle is. I am Char, and again, used to be campaign manager, but currently on maternity cover on the UK socials. So it's me that's in your DMs. And yeah, coming to you from Sheffield.
And I'm Ash Jayy from Sheffield, but not coming to you from Sheffield. I am in unusually sunny Wales, and I am Tandem's TikTok community manager. So Char's in your DMs, I'm in your comments section.
Nice, yes. Fantastic. So I thought we could start off really simple, and you could each tell us which romance author you have read the most books of, or you own the most books of. So why don't we start with Ash Jayy? I saw before we started you had some books ready for us.
I have piles and piles.
Love it.
This room I'm in is my romance book room, and there are 3 different bookshelves.
You have a romance book room?
I have a romance book room.
What? Okay, but I know you love romance, but do you have book rooms for other books as well? Like, how does that work?
No, I just have a romance book room, and then everything else is just in piles around the rest of my flat.
Yeah.
The romance books get royalty treatment. The rest of the books just, they exist.
It's a fascinating organization system. I really like it. All right, so show us your books.
My most read, most owned favorite romance author of all time is Annabeth, which is no surprise if you know me. She writes Achillean romance. They are just, the quality doesn't drop every single time. I go into a new book and I'm like, is it going to be as good? And it is every time. My all-time favorite book is Conventionally Yours by Annabeth, which is a super nerdy road trip Achillean romance, and it's glorious. And yeah, cheers. My go-to.
I'm gonna write all these down, and all of these will also be in the description below the video for you all. Char, what have you got for us?
So I am very much a kind of reader that reads and unhauls. So I don't actually have a lot of books in my house that I've read. But these are a couple of the books I'm either excited for or have read recently. This one is by Rachel Lacey and is a queer You've Got Mail. It's amazing. Bet on You is amazing. Bet on It, sorry. And Double Booked is one that I'm really looking forward to reading. We're doing a campaign for this. But my favorite romance author is probably Katee Robert. Which Elle and I are big Katee Robert fans, and my favorite book of hers is probably still Neon Goods. Like, I'm currently in a chokehold with Hades Persephone retellings. Like, I can't get out of it. So if anyone's got any that you think I might not have read, please send them over, because I can't. Like, it's literally got me in such a chokehold. So yeah, that's for me.
I remember when you were reading that last year. I think I might have been interning at Tandem at that time. I remember you reading Neon Gods and you were like, you have to read this.
Literally.
Yeah, my gosh. That's interesting though, because I actually, most of my romance reading, I read ebooks. So I basically I'm displaying all my entire romance collection to you right now because my ebook collection is enormous. But yeah, I also don't have a lot of the physical romance books. Okay, Elle, what have you got?
So I feel like I'm kind of actually quite new to the romance genre, so no romance rooms for me. But yeah, to kind of double on with Char, Katee Robert is probably my go-to. I feel like any book of Katee Robert that I read, I absolutely love. Spoiler, it is very smutty, but it is probably the most diverse, best represented, consensual sex that I've ever read in romance novels, so I absolutely love that. But not necessarily on Kindle, but I actually listen to a lot of romance. I find that listening to it, especially when you get good voice actors, is just fantastic. So Conventionally Yours actually is one of my favorite audiobook romances that I've ever listened to. But I recently found the author Alexandra Bellefleur as well. She wrote a story called Count Your Lucky Stars, and that's yeah, very femme love story, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I'm starting a small romance book collection, but mostly it's audiobook and mostly it's spicy.
Nice. Yes, my my conundrum with audiobooks with romance is that I usually listen to audiobooks like when I'm commuting or I'm on the tube or something like that. And anytime it gets to like a smutty part and I'm like on the tube listening to it, I suddenly feel really self-conscious. I'm like, not that anybody can hear what I'm listening to, but like I know. And that's
I was once in a coffee shop in Brighton listening to You Had Me at Hola, and like in retrospect, like not, it's spicy, but I've since listened to spicier things, but I was just sitting and I just wasn't expecting it because it's quite a cutesy, you know, secret single dad, they're movie stars, like it's quite a cutesy little romance. And then all of a sudden the author's just dropping the C-bomb and everyone's naked and I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? And I was just sitting like, and I could feel myself like blushing and I was like, whoa. And it just came out of nowhere. And Ash Jayy is laughing because it's so unexpected. Like she's just 1 minute they're just chatting and the next they're just naked and it's like, what's happening?
I don't listen in public places, but I listen to audiobooks mostly in the car. So Char is laughing at me already for this, but me and Char live near each other, so we go to one of us houses a lot, and when I'm driving there, it's about 30 minutes on the motorway. So I will have like a romance book cranked up, and like the most recent one I listened to was the Kraken's Sacrifice, and yes, there were tentacles. But imagine I'm going like 70 down the motorway, and the most intense like the most intense sex scene will start, and I'm looking at these cars around me, and I'm trying to focus. I'm like, my life and others are at stake here. But I am thoroughly distracted by what is happening. Like I find myself blushing and nobody can even hear me. But Char is laughing because once I pulled up, or it's not even once, it's more than once, but I will pull up to her house and she says that I listen to my romance book so loud.
I can hear the bass through my living room window. And I went onto my little quiet terrace suburban street with my neighbors, Nick and Tracy, and I can hear it in the living room. I'm like, girly, once you get off the motorway, you've got to turn that down. It's
all about that bass.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
See, I was listening last month to Not My Type by Evie Mitchell, and I was on my lunch break at uni in our English department and was just listening to it while I ate my lunch, and took me a solid 5 minutes to realize that. And this was a scene that was in a kink club. Char and Elle will know the scene I'm talking about. Anyone that's read it will know the scene. And it was out loud. It was playing at full volume out of my phone instead of through my headphones, because I forgot that I'd connected my headphones to my laptop for something and just didn't reconnect them.
It's like my worst fear.
Yeah.
Anyone that walked through the department at that time got a full earful.
Culture.
Yeah, it sounds like they had a good time, to be fair.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the video of that guy in the library. This is totally tangent, but when he's playing Call Me Maybe, and he doesn't realize, he has his headphones on, doesn't realize it's coming out of his computer, just blasting in the library, and everybody's just like, why isn't he turning it off? Like, that would be me on the tube if my headphones suddenly died. And yeah, okay. Anyway, if you're watching, do you listen to romance books, or do you prefer a print or ebook, or a little bit of a mix? Let us know in the comments. So, bit of a segue here, but romance books have become super popular. And Elle, you said you're more recent to romance books. I don't know if this is why, but TikTok has been attributed to helping the rise of romance books in the last couple of years. And I'm wondering if you all have insight into why you think romance has done so well on TikTok, even, you know, as opposed to maybe some other genres. What about romance does particularly well on TikTok? And Ash Jayy, maybe we can start with you as our TikTok community manager.
It is one of the biggest genres out there, both like financially, profit-wise, and readership. But I think TikTok brought it to a whole new audience at a time where it was needed. We have had a rough couple of years, and booktok really took off during 2020 and COVID and that whole mess of a year, that people just wanted something nice. And the one staple of the romance genre is you get a happy ending every single time. No matter how much chaos goes on between A and B, you always get that happily ever after at the end of the book, and you know it's coming, so you can relax. And also, the tropes makes content creation for a romance book so much easier, because you can just take one Katie Robert quote from a Kindle, put it on the screen, you've got like an 8-second video and you're done. And it's like everyone will eat it up. And you can't, like with fantasy and thriller, it's so hard to do that in the simple way you can with romance, because there's so many plot points to bring in and so many different characters. Romance, you've got the love, and most of the time you've got the glorious sex, and it's just so easy to make content for it.
I absolutely agree. Elle, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's probably twofold for me in terms of, I know you mentioned maybe TikTok influencing me coming to romance, and I definitely think it did. And it's exactly what Ash Jayy said. Like I remember when we were in that period. So basically I went into the first lockdown pregnant, and I had about 3 months of that initial lockdown where I was pregnant, and before I had my baby. And I remember that I started reading A Little Life, and I had to actually put that book down because I felt that overwhelmed from the sadness and from the pressure and the uncertainty and the scary things going around outside of my bubble, but I just couldn't take it anymore. And I remember at that point I started listening to audiobooks around about that point, and I just wanted, like Ash Jayy said, I just wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel positive, and I wanted to know that that happy ending was coming, because I think at the time we didn't know when that ending was coming, or if it was going to come, or what was going to happen. And yeah, that definitely played a massive factor in it. I downloaded TikTok about the same time as well. And I think it's just that combination of, it just put me in front of a genre that I'd never considered before and gave me exactly what I needed in that moment. And then secondly, I think it's because TikTok it's given romance a platform. I think it's very common, and I'm not even saying that I in the past haven't been guilty of this, but it's very common to kind of think that romance isn't a serious genre, that it's not as good or as literary or doesn't have as much merit as other genres, because like I said, it has the tropes and it has the happy ending, and you kind of sometimes know what you're getting. And I think I had a little bit of pick-me behavior, that I thought that I had to read books that were deemed to be literary enough or of a certain quality. And then I think actually reading romance, I realized that it's such an important and impactful genre. And I think TikTok has kind of taken that and modernized it and given it a new voice, and has made people who were previously reluctant about romance actually realize that it is probably one of the best genres. And yeah, so I think TikTok taking off is just because romance is so accessible. And I think, yeah, the merits of it just far outweigh this old reputation that only frivolous people read romance. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, it's, you know, I was just thinking that during lockdown, I did this webinar for like people trying to get into publishing with a big publisher in the States, and they sort of referred to romance as like a dark horse. Yeah, we all know that romance makes so much money, but we don't really focus on it as a publishing house. And I think the conversation around romance and seeing it as, you know, the covers with like Fabio on the cover and those things like that, you know, only older women read, has changed so much because of TikTok. Char, what are your thoughts?
I think that it's the problem that romance has had in previous years is that it's very much, like you said, linked to that, you know, like my mum reading the little pink Mills and Boons romance books, and it just having this guilty pleasure holiday. You know, you only pick them up at the airport because you want something easy to read while you're on holiday and you want to turn your brain off. And it's just been given this sort of, yeah, this guilty pleasure status that, like I said, you can't read it if you're not a serious reader. And it's still very much a conversation within the community itself now that is like, you know, there are still people out there making content that's like, you're not a proper reader if you don't read classics, or you're not a proper reader if you only read audiobooks. And it's just like, just let people live. Just let people live. There are some days when I will get up and I just want to read about a dragon that has multiple penises. And I don't know if we're allowed to say penis on the YouTube, but just did twice. So
I mean, my live with Evie Mitchell was just like everything is on the table. So
and I also think I think that you know, certainly, you know, I used to be a big thriller reader, and I still am. I love a thriller. I love a thriller, but I just think that no one is doing as much for diversity than romance authors are doing for diversity, and not in a way that makes it feel like not in a way that makes it feel not genuine. It's just, this is what my life looks like as a fat person, as a queer person, as a person who just lives in a metropolitan city. This is what life looks like, and these are the people that we fall in love with. And I just don't think that any other genre is doing as much for diversity as romances.
100% agree.
Absolutely.
On the stupid argument that comes up like every few months that you mentioned as well, they're like, oh, if you don't read classics, then it's this and this and this. And I bring up the same argument every single time. One of the best-selling classics of all time is a romance book. And if Jane Austen was writing books today, she would not be writing lit fic. She would be writing for Mills and Boon and Harlequin. She would be a romance author. And Mr. Darcy would be top.
Wuthering Heights is a forbidden romance. What do you mean? Wuthering Heights is romance. I mean, it's twisted, but it's romance.
I mean, even Romeo and Juliet, although it's like happy ending, not
questionable, but it's romance.
Yes, you know.
There is not a single piece of media where, even in the deepest, darkest thriller series, these detectives, they're falling in love because everybody does it. Most people do it at some point in their lives. You're not falling in love, you're having sex, or you're getting a crush, or you're just, you know, you're having even like platonic, like friend love. Like, it's out there. This is just people being alive. It's just a part of life.
That, I mean, beautifully said. Yeah, it is a reflection, I think, of real life, and so why not have more of it in your reading material? Okay, we are going to move on to a little game. So for this little romance chat, I've put together a game. and the game is called What's in a Name? All right, so I'll explain the rules. For this game, I'll just be giving you a series of made-up romance book titles. And you are going to each take turns in, about 20 seconds or less, giving me very basic plot for that romance book. Yeah. You feel up to the task? I think we've got some good experts over here. So, yeah. All right. Why don't we start with Char? And we will go with the Corner Cat Cafe. And the bar on the bottom is our little timer I've put together. So I'll start you now, and you can tell us what this romance book is about.
Okay, so it is two women. One owns the cafe. Another is just a patron that comes into the cafe. It's sort of like a twist on 101 Dalmatians. They both have cats. One of the cats gets out. The patron helps them get it back, and they just fall in love in the cat cafe.
Oh my gosh, I love that. A 101 Dalmatians retelling.
Yes, but with cats.
With cats and with two women. I absolutely love it.
Someone needs to write these books. Can someone write these books?
We'll just pitch these to a publisher rather than a man.
Just trying to kill the cats. There's no Cruella. We'll have to think of a different villain. There's no one's going to skin the cats.
So the villain is the villain.
Oh, I was going to say that the villain is the local council who wants to remove their license.
Yes.
There you go. Perfection. Okay. I don't remember which one is next, but let's go with Ash Jayy. And your prompt is All the Way Home. So a little bit more, more creative freedom, I think, with this particular title. But on your mark, get set, go.
Okay, we have two trans guys. Both of them are queer. Both of them knew each other when they were younger, but they didn't know that they knew each other when they were younger. And they get stuck in an airport in the snow and have to drive home for Christmas together and fall in love along the way and rail in a hotel room.
Yes!
Yes.
Road trip romance!
Okay,
I love a road trip romance.
the rail in the hotel room.
I had to get the smut in there somewhere, and I was running out.
One bed trope all the way. Yes. Oh gosh, I love it. Okay, Elle, you are up, and your first prompt is Designs for the Duke. And here we go.
Okay, so the Duke is getting married to the Countess of Highchester, but he doesn't actually love her. It's a romance of convenience. The designer of the wedding dress and the groom's suit spends a lot of time, comes up with these naughty designs, and he realizes that he wants to dump the Countess and falls in love with the designer.
Oh my, the designer of the wedding dress. That's brilliant. Designs for the Duke. We had to get in, like a Regency.
Also, yeah, I didn't have time to say this in the 20 seconds, but I'm adding it in. But you just know that in some of the groom's suit fittings, there were some wandering hands.
Oh yeah, that inseam, gotta measure the.
Also, the tailor, the designer is a man, obviously.
Obviously. Okay, we're gonna circle back to Char, and your next title is Alyssa Isn't Having It. On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, Alyssa is your classic millennial, chronically single. She's me. She's not having any luck on dating apps, and she's giving them up, and she's like, love is going to come to me. I'm done with dating apps. I'm done with trying. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And obviously she meets the love of her life.
Yes. Good for Alyssa. And yes.
Relatable romance. We all love a relatable romance.
Alyssa brackets Char.
Yeah.
That's not happening anymore.
Manifesting it.
Yeah, no, the apps. Okay. Ash Jayy, it's your turn, and we have I love this one. Not in a Million Light Years. Go.
Okay, sci-fi romance. You have, again, two trans guys, because T for T, they get stranded on a planet together and have to work out how they get home. And there's Space Wars and Star Wars, and one of them's a space Latino. In a rocket.
What more could you want from your sci-fi romance? I mean, fabulous. Okay, Elle, we have you up next, and you have Penny for your thoughts. All right, and go.
Okay, so I'm going to go rogue, and this one is actually about a married couple. They've been married for 10 years and things are getting really stale. So they decide to commit to a journey to find love in each other again. And Penny for your thoughts is their prompt for them to share some sort of like sexy, flirty language with one another. And it leads to lots of hot sex and them getting married again.
Oh,
It's
that's
really
so cute.
Obviously, the couple can be any gender.
Reinvigoration. Okay, I believe the next title is the last one. And I do have a timer on it, but I think, you know, ignore the timer. This should just be a collaborative effort. Because you know how a lot of romance titles are idioms or like well-known sayings. So I thought I would just throw this one in there and see what you all could do with it. Between the devil and the deep blue sea. So
we all collectively thought tentacles at the same time, and I know it did.
Before we started this game, I was set on somehow getting a merman in there. So I think there has to be merman.
Merman.
Yeah.
What else? And the devil?
Pirates.
Pirates.
What if the pirates and the pirates, one of the pirates makes a deal with the devil that they have to live in the deep blue sea for a period of time with the merman colony?
What if it's a girl pirate? Girl pirates are hot.
Yes.
I mean, all pirates are hot, but
I'm also like getting a like with the making the deal with the devil, like a very Hades Persephone type trope. So you got that there, Char.
Yeah. And the underwater thing, you know, he's all about the underworld. I mean, Poseidon is the water, but you know.
Oh, what if we had a female pirate and she gets lost out at sea on her ship and she's alone and she comes across a siren and her and the siren develop a relationship. Yeah.
Just so many
options.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think with this with such specific terminology. You wouldn't think, but no.
Listen, if we could write a book, these books would exist. if there was a writer among us.
Romance publishers, call us.
This novel.
That was fantastic. You all did so well, and thank you for playing along. That was a lot of fun. For those of you watching, what ideas did you come up with for these titles? And did any of our suggestions and ideas go in a totally different direction from where you thought they would? Because certainly did from what my first like instincts would have been with some of these titles, and that was really exciting. So let us know in the comments what some of your romance plots would have been with these titles. Okay, so I've just got a couple more questions about romance for you all. And first, I think I'd like to know, what are some of your favorite tandem romance campaigns that you've been a part of or that you've enjoyed watching? She's got another book. Nice.
Yeah, twinning. Well done, team.
Love.
Was the first romance I actually worked on with Tandem. And coming home to this in the post, I devoured it.
Yeah.
Elena Armas has my heart, my soul, and my dick.
She's bringing out a new book. She's bringing out a new book, and I think it's a sports romance.
I just read a sports romance. Oh, I'm actually working on a romance at the minute. I'm working on Icebreaker as part of our Amazon Editors campaign. Icebreaker, sport romance. So Lowdown is the protagonist is a figure skater, is at university in a made-up American university, and one of the rinks at the university breaks down, so the figure skaters have to share the rink with the hockey players. And the figure skater obviously starts falling in love with the captain of the hockey team. And let me tell you, I have now read a lot of romance, and I don't think I've ever read a book where the sex starts so soon. They start and they do not stop. But yeah, I loved it. It was fantastic.
That sounds great. Oh, there it is. You're gonna look at what page it starts on, aren't you?
It's like 120. It's not even that late, actually. It's like page 40 or something.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, mate, it's insane.
Char, what are some of your favorite tandem romance campaigns?
I think one of my favorites was Kishara Wheeler, Casey McQuiston. That was, yeah, very cute. And I just think a very good set of side characters, which I think is hard to get right when you've got the romance element so right as well. And then again, yeah, Double Booked is one I'm really excited for. We've just worked on the paperback for this by Lily Linden. But yeah, very excited for this as well. And just all of the TikTok read-alongs, I just think, yeah, I just love. Yeah.
What's not to love?
Yeah, Icebreaker is incredibly, just, yeah, very, very good. I can't tell you how good it is.
If you're interested in getting involved with tandem read-alongs of all kinds, we'll have our newsletter link to sign up in the description. It's in the description of all of our videos. So to get involved with tandem campaigns, just sign up to that newsletter and get all of the most recent news and campaigns. And now I want to know from each of you, what is your favorite super specific romance trope? I mean, we all know like enemies to lovers and you know, friends to lovers, but it's gone past that, I think, in the romance community, and you can get super specific, and there's something out there for you. So Elle, do you want to start?
I am a fan of enemies to lovers. I think I like the heat and the passion of them disliking each other at the beginning, as long as they're not too mean to each other. I have a problem with if they're too cruel. But yeah, I was getting super specific. I do the one bed, I'm sorry, but the idea that they're just trapped in a location, not even just a bed, but just any sort of location, if they're trapped in a tower together, or they're trapped in a ship together, or if they're just trapped somewhere together. And that's why I like the road trip trope so much, because I love the idea that they're just sat in the car and they have all of that intense energy, and you can feel the tension. You can just feel the tension, and you're just flipping the pages or listening to the audiobook, and you're just waiting for that first like brush. The first touch, and that really gets me going. I'm not gonna lie, I love the build up and the tension that you get from enemies to lovers, from close proximity to yeah, I'm trying to think of really specific ones though.
I like a touch her and you'll die.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, especially when it starts with them being enemies. You know, when like she's not sure that, you know, when one of them's not sure that the other one likes them because they think that they just hate them. But then, you know, in the other chapters, in the other point of view, it's like, if you touch her again, I'll murder you. And I'm like, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a cowboy boy. I mean,
You are a cowboy boy.
my cowboy romance collection. Give me a cowboy any day. And within that, give me a cowboy that's like the Who Hurt You.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like, feral. And also cowboys getting hurt, either out on the ranch or when they're eating, and that like dramatic, how badly is he hurt? Especially if the person, like, they're arguing, but the hero or heroine is still watching and sees them go down. And
I'm a Chris White suit girly. Love a crisp suit, not a white suit, white shirt suit.
I'd have to go more for the cowboy angle. I like quite rugged characters. Yeah. Or I like forceful women, adamant women. Love that.
No, in that vein, I always love the like one of them nursing the other back to health, like, oh, I have a cold, I'm not feeling good, and like the other one has to nurse them back to health. Or also like, you know, when one has nightmares and then the other one comforts them, like those are my like.
Oh, it's not so much a trope, but something quite specific that I really enjoy is like a very rogue. I don't condone violence, but just a very rogue punch, like someone just knocking someone out in the, you know, to protect the other person. But you're not expecting it. It's not. They're not a violent person. There has been no violence up to press, but they've just
suddenly tipped over the edge. The thing that I really love that Katee Roberts does a lot of is bargains. So you find a lot of her, like in this series, The Dragon's Bride and the Kraken one I mentioned, it's all about the women make deals with from the human realm with a bargainer demon, and if they spend 7 years in the realm of whoever basically chooses them, they go back to the human realm and they get a lot of money and they're basically set for life, but obviously they all fall in love. And so it's this idea that the women are bound to the creatures. So the first one is a dragon, the second one is a kraken, there's going to be gargoyles. It's a whole series, and I love that bargain element, that you have to stay with them. She's done it in other books as well. Yes, it was funny. Again, it's this forced proximity with one another. Like they have to, these people have to stay in this relationship or this duo for 7 years. And I'm trying to think of other examples where it's happened, but there's one that Katee Robert wrote, and it was a throuple, and one of the man, Abel, he won the other two people in like this fight. And again, I'm not necessarily massively into violence, but the fact he won and chose them, and then they kind of submitted into this polyamorous relationship. Stunning.
Gorgeous. Chef's kiss. Yes. Basically, in romance, there's something for everyone.
Something for everyone.
Literally everyone. Okay. I do realize we have to wrap it up soon. So I'm just going to quickly ask, what romance authors or books do you wish more people knew about? Not necessarily super popular on TikTok. And I'm going to start with Ash Jayy.
The Devil's Talking by Ryan Fox / Georgina Kirsten. This is my gay agenda. I will make everyone read this book. It's literally, it's a novella. It's tiny. It's about Silas, who is like uber nerd, like antiques dealer, who buys a like magic book and ends up bound to a demon. The sex is incredible. It's magnificent. It is.
Yeah, I've never seen that one before, so I'm definitely putting it on my list. I've got one author. Her name's Cora Carmack. She wrote this trio of books called Losing It, Faking It, and Finding It, which are YA romance, but they definitely do have some, you know, salacious scenes in there. And she also has a like university series. I think it's called Rusk University, and a series of characters there have their own books. So Cora Carmack, check her out. Any others before we wrap things up? Okay.
Acoustics by London Price. This is again one of my favorite books of all time. It is an Achillean romance with a trans man.
Very cute.
It's magnificent.
Does it have anything to do with music, like acoustics?
Yeah. It's the series is the Portland Symphony series.
Ooh.
And there is definitely music in it. I just don't remember how.
Okay, because I love like any romance with music elements, because that was my previous life. Char, you said you had something for us.
I have a couple. I mean, Amy Lee is gathering TikTok fame, but very cute romance. This is the first in the series. X's and O's is the second, so it's very classic at the minute to have you know, booking a series following each person, which is what's happening here. The third one is coming out soon, and we have been promised that it is, wait for it, a While You Were Sleeping / The Proposal like retelling, and I'm like, Sandra Bullock can do no wrong. And also Justin Myers, the fake up. Justin Myers is an incredible writer. He has 3 books out, but the fake up is his most recent. Yeah, very cute. Sort of like a really tips on its head that fake dating trope. And one that I did read recently that is incredible, it's coming out soon, I think it's out next week, is called A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. It's so good.
I think I've heard that.
Very good.
I thought of one, but I don't know how big. I've not seen them on TikTok, but it doesn't mean they're not on TikTok. But Nisha Sharma. So I really, really loved Dating Dr. Dill. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Dr. Dill. Yeah, I think I saw that a while ago, but it's not like blown up really. Another one I forgot to mention is Samantha Young, is one of my favorite romance authors. And her most famous one is On Dublin Street. And that whole series takes place in Edinburgh. And I will read anything that she writes. So check her out as well. We have to wrap up here, but I want to thank Char, Ash Jayy, and Elle for joining me for this wonderful romance chat on Valentine's Day. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know in the comments, give us a like, a subscribe, and let us know what other kinds of romance videos and chats you'd like us to do in the future. Are there particular tropes that you want to hear about? Or do you want to know more about Tandem romance campaigns and how we work those? Let us know in the comments. So happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for watching.